The Cigar Nerds Podcast.
And welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe, and we have the Ginger Avenger Amanda back with us yet again. You know, perhaps we'll introduce our new segment later in the show, Where the Fuck is Brad?
Sure, why not? Does anybody really care, though? Do we care? I mean, you know, I kind of do, but...
I mean... This is kind of a special occasion. I kind of hoped he would have been here for this episode because for all y'all keeping track at home, this is episode 200. We've been sitting here at these mics, or at least I have, for
Yay, bitches.
200 episodes. I think Brad's been here for like 192.
Something like that.
You're up to what, 5 or 6 at this point?
I think 3, 4, maybe? I don't know, 4? I think.
Maybe. I'm not... But I know I've been here for 200 freaking episodes at this point.
That's because you're old.
Man, too bad we're not making any money off of this yet. 200 episodes would have been getting paid. Speaking of which, go check us out on YouTube, subscribe. You know, get my numbers up so I can become monetized and be the next famous gun tuber / podcaster.
Is it about the amount of episodes or is it about the amount of views? Because I think it might be about the amount of views.
You've got to have at least 1,000 subscribers before you're eligible for monetization. I've got about 56 last I looked, I think.
Oh, okay. So might have a ways to go there.
So yeah. Well, before we get into this week's topic, what are we smoking this week? You're getting a twofer review because somebody didn't bring a cigar last time and tends to complain about the cigars I get are a little strong. So why don't you start us off, dear? What are you smoking? Because I got that one special for you.
Yes, and I'm so appreciative.
I know how much you love flavored cigars.
Really, I'm appreciative. Let me tell you. I have the Flavor, FLVR, I'm assuming that's how you say that, Unicorn Tears, because my husband's an asshole. But...
Undisclosed wrapper and blend, but they claim it has a mild flavor and comes in a 5x42 ring size. And what kind of flavors you getting there out of
You're going to make me say it, aren't you? You really are.
Well, you don't have to use the marketing propaganda of sparkles and rainbows.
Yes, sparkles and double rainbows, not just rainbows, it's double.
What actual flavors are you getting?
Mostly just chocolate so far, but it's supposed to be chocolate, butter, and caramel, I believe it was.
Yeah, so it's supposed to, I guess, have kind of a cookie-ish flavor.
Yeah, kind of. I'm not getting a whole lot of butter. Mostly it's just chocolate.
You've had the Java chocolate, so I figured that might be in your wheelhouse of flavors.
It's not bad. There's mostly just chocolate so far, but it's a really mild flavor. It's not PMS, middle of the, I need a whole gigantic Hershey bar right now. It's not like that, but we're, kind of like a that's what it is. Biscotti. The little.
Might go with some coffee.
Yeah, that would work.
Well, I'm smoking the Tatuaje PCA 2022 edition. Just came out in November of last year. It is an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and fillers.
Let's ask Fred here. Let's give Fred a try of both of them and see which one he likes. But I bet he's going to side with me.
For all of those listening at home that can't see what she's talking about, we have an alligator head on the table this week.
That is a crocodile.
Crocodile, whatever, man. We'll see.
Narrow nose is crocodile, I think.
Yeah, I think you're actually right.
Actually, like it never happens. I think I am actually right.
So, to kind of explain why we're talking about what we're talking about this week, before we get into the main segment, a local legend recently passed away. If anyone's from the Georgia area who remembers Okefenokee Joe, he was kind of a former country singer turned animal activist, and would go around to schools and zoos and put on these presentations about life in the swamp.
And then I think he also did ecological tourism, so he took a lot of people on rafting trips down through Okefenokee and.
So Brad suggested, since we're to honor Okefenokee Joe, we should do something crocodile related, and the only thing crocodile related I could think of was the crocodile, not the Crocodile Hunter.
What?
Crocodile Dundee.
Jesus, you're getting worse each episode. I'm not doing this with you anymore. You're starting to bring down my rep.
So that's why we have our friend here on the table, because we're going to go way back to the 80s and talk about Mick Dundee. And if you're going to go hunt crocodiles, you should crawl in the Strike Force. StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code Cigar Nerds for 20% off your order. It comes in tiny little tin pouches that won't weigh you down when you're hiking through the outback. You like my announcer voice there?
It's more the crawl in the Strike Force. That's the part that got to me. But yeah, that's what you said. But it's fine. It's all right. You might be crawling after you get attacked by a crocodile and you're bleeding to death.
Yeah,
You might need that extra
bites half
energy.
your leg off. Yeah, these this cigar here, the Tatuaje, and it's the Capa Especial is what they're kind of called. This Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. These were available to only 2 retailers that attended the PCA tobacco show. So you kind of had to attend in person to order this cigar, and they sold out like day 1 of the show. So, if your local retailer is a PCA, retailer, then take a look. You might find these. And also, I think like so much of each cigar sold was donated back to the PCA to, kind of fight for tobacco
Smokers'
rights
rights.
and whatnot, or at least cigar smokers' rights.
Too bad we could have gotten anything from Australia, but I don't know if they do cigars specifically in Australia.
I know they sell cigars in Australia, but I've never heard of a Australian cigar.
No, neither have I. But
Does not sound like a good tobacco growing region as far as I know.
I mean, let's face it. If we were going to smoke something from Australia, it would probably be something else entirely. Especially if you're in the outback and you're
Like
on a vision quest.
Like barbecued iguana.
I'm down. I'd rather have the iguana as a pet, but I'm down.
All right, but that's all we got for you in this here intro. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with the main segment. And welcome back to the show. It's time to travel to a land down under.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, that's Mexican radio. That's the same band though, isn't it?
What? What did you just do?
I mean, the only Australian music I know is like the Safety Dance and I'm from a Land Down Under, whatever that band is.
Oh God, you just.
I mean, the knowledge I have of Australia is exclusively from these 3 movies and a couple like 80s music videos.
Okay, well, I've actually been there, and
Mad Max. Mad Max was Australian.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean the original.
Okay. Well, I
that
didn't
was
realize
like
that.
Mel Gibson's like first film, I believe.
That was set in Australia, or was filmed in Australia? I didn't know that.
Yeah, the original director's, I think, Australian.
Mm.
So yes, this week we're going way, way back, and I guess also down under to
Good day, mate.
Crocodile Dundee, which 1986, I believe, was with the first one.
So that made you what, 25, and me like 4?
I was 7. I'm not that old.
No kidding.
I'm only about to be 43.
Yes, I know. I'm aware.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Crocodile Dundee, played by
Paul Hogan.
Paul Hogan, not to be confused with Hulk Hogan. They are not related.
That was pathetic. That was pathetic.
Yeah, brother.
No.
Hulkamania's going to run wild.
Oh
on
my
you.
God. Somebody save me and get me out of here.
Yeah, rip my shirt off.
Well, you can do that, but don't ever do that voiceover again.
Yeah, Crocodile Dundee. And it was kind of like ironic because we're like, hey, let's do something crocodile rated. I mean, this was Brad's idea, and then he
Didn't
snuck
show?
away and didn't come back.
Brad does not exist anymore. I'm telling you, Brad is dead. Somebody is wearing a Brad suit. It's like the first Men in Black. It's an Edgar suit. No, somebody's wearing a Brad suit. Brad is deceased. He's in a freezer somewhere.
Ironically enough, like HBO Max just like acquired, I guess, these 3. I just seen it like pop up like.
Well, didn't you say it was like the 30th anniversary? No, it's
No, we got another couple years.
something in. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 86, so like 3 more years, and it will be the
30th anniversary. 40th anniversary.
40th anniversary. So yeah,
Yes,
this
we're
is going way, way back.
Yep.
So as you said, you were like 2 when these came out. What's your...
I was 4.
So did you see these at 4, or is it something you found later in
No, this
life?
is something Dad enjoyed, so we watched it as we got older. Then me and my sisters watched it because we enjoyed it.
I gotta say, it's
Up until the 3rd, because I'd never seen the 3rd until recently.
it's been a while since I've set through all of these, and surprisingly wholesome for something from the 80s. Like, I mean, there's a few
there's some
jokes
drug
that didn't age well.
references. There's, somebody doing cocaine at a party. There's
I mean, there's several, like, gay or trans that haven't aged well, but then again, if you watch anything from that time period,
there's going to be a lot that didn't age well.
It's not something that was not uncommon in the time period, but there's not really a lot of blood and violence. I mean, even like the
some
fight
violence,
stuff,
no
he
blood,
manages not to kill anyone other than, snaps a lot of necks on some snakes and...
Well, yeah. A couple of goannas.
Yeah, but as far as...
But you're going to eat it, so it doesn't matter. As long as you're going to eat it, it's fine.
I mean, we'll get to it in a minute. By the second movie, he's getting chased by drug dealers, and he manages just to, like, capture them all. He, like I said, there's...
Well, yeah, but they don't pay for their crimes if you don't turn them in, unfortunately.
But yeah, it's like a surprisingly...
He didn't catch them all, because that one guy was dead. He fell off a cliff and smashed into rock. He was dead.
But he didn't kill them. The drug dealer killed his own guy.
Well, that's true. Okay, good point.
So yeah, he's like, for a roughneck outback guy, he surprisingly good dude. Especially like in the 80s. The 80s was like the time of like over the top violence in movies and
gore and pathetic attempts at gore. Now that I remember correctly, but
the other thing about this movie too, and we'll get into specifics here in a minute, but it kind of like this could be a story set today.
Yeah, kind of.
And what I mean by that is it's a fish out of water movie, but the first half it's New York reporter girl going to the outback, and then the second half of the first movie anyway is outback guy getting brought to New York, and he is
some destruction issues here.
Manly, masculine country dude surrounded by
New Yorkers in the 80s, which is, cocaine fueled madness, but
I mean, you could almost tell the same story today with a, kind of country old school guy being surrounded by a bunch of woke, like, beta
dropping
type,
somebody that's lived their whole life in Texas in LA is what you're saying. Basically, we're gonna
like someone who like that's not politically correct and in a world that like oh, that's toxic masculinity. Like, no, fuck you. Like, masculinity is necessary. You can still be an asshole, but masculinity in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's kind of got us through the life for a long time.
Oh, okay.
So it's you could easily do this story with this, like a guy who's like a masculine, old country dude surrounded by like more modern type peoples.
Masculine and not an asshole is not the two are not. They don't automatically go together. God, I'm a lot more on the more liberal side than you, but you can be a guy and be a man's man and whatever else, but you can still be a good person that understands other people have the right to be whoever they want to be. I'm not suggesting you run up to everybody you see and try to cup check them to see if it's a woman you're talking to or not. But, I'm going to live my life, you'd live yours, and it's fine.
Well, I say you can be a John Wayne without, being oppressing others.
True.
Masculinity in and of itself is not
It's just
toxic.
a fine line, but not a lot of... It's a fine line a lot of men have a problem walking. Masculinity is not a toxic trait. Being an asshole is a toxic trait. Yes. And there's a lot of times those two things do go together. I think it's got more to do with how you feel about yourself more than anything else. It's got nothing to do with how you feel about other people. It's just how you view yourself and what makes you worried about yourself. So go do what you want. I don't care.
But yeah, like I said, just kind of the theme of this, I think, has kind of circled all the way back around where this could be a story we tell today. You know, minus some of the gay jokes, you know, but other than that.
There's not that many gay jokes, first of all. But anyway.
Oh, but yeah, you know, as we said, Paul Hogan.
Linda Kozlowski.
Who ends up like our Kozlowski, something like that. However you pronounce that. And this is like, I mean, he's huge in Australia, but yeah, he
was huge here before. He had a big career here too.
But he's like, I mean, I think he's got like you think of Australia, he's our second favorite crocodile guy.
That's true. Rest
in peace, Steve Irwin. Like,
may he, forever.
Crikey. But like,
just don't do that. That's just don't do that. Leave the memory alone.
Oh, crikey.
No.
She's an angry gator.
Oh, God. You have no idea. You have no idea. She's hangry, too. She hadn't had dinner yet, so yeah.
We could barbecue some iguana.
Goanna. Goanna.
Did
you never watch The Rescuers?
Huh?
Disney. The Rescuers Down Under.
I have
Little
a beard,
mouse.
And I'm in my 40s.
This was when we were kids. This movie came out when we were kids.
I was watching G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Oh my
God.
I was
not watching Disney.
Okay, Bernard and Bianca. Does that mean anything to you? The two little rescuer mouse? The two little rescuer mouses.
I remember Fievel Goes West. That's it.
Jesus Christ. No.
And Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
The Rescuers Down Under. It was the little boy and the eagle, and you just... Jesus.
Nope.
It's Goanna. It's Goanna. I promise you. I've been there. It's Goanna.
Which, speaking of his travels, Brad was having to drive cross country. I told him to look out for lot lizards. And he sends me a picture of one of his crews apparently caught and barbecued an iguana in like Puerto Rico or something.
I'd rather keep it as a pet.
He said it's like very chewy chicken from the reports he got.
When we were over there, I didn't see a whole lot of those, but freaking wombats. Beware of wombat signs along the more rural roads, and beware of kangaroos, because they do jump out in front of the cars as they don't give a fuck.
Kangaroos, man, they'll swing on you too. You seen like the guy like boxing a kangaroo because he was trying to eat his dog?
Yeah.
And those things are stout, man.
They are. That's what they warn you about when you go over there. But they taste pretty good. I had a kangaroo steak while I was over there. They taste pretty good. What? I did. I went to Australia.
I knew someone who had in their travels, picked up a kangaroo nutsack purse.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, those are a big tourist item, but the steak was good.
And Kangaroo Jack. That's the other movie I know about Australia.
I don't even know what that one is.
Oh. But yeah, this movie was... I mean, it's like, even today, you can't, pick up a knife without going, that's not a knife. This is a knife. It's kind of one of those that, has seeped into the vernacular for...
See, it's not so much about him being a masculine dude. It was just, he's a good dude. He's like, some dumb punk tried to mug me, but it's just some dumb kid having fun. It's fine. I'm just going to screw up his jacket and walk off because I don't care. It's fine.
He's like, this kid's just having fun. Yeah, budget of this movie was $8.8 million. Guess how much it made?
12.
328.
Holy shit. Okay.
Like I said, this was a huge movie directed by Peter Fayman. That's how you pronounce it. I've never heard that name.
Never heard that name before, so
it's not like a Spielberg that I'm familiar with.
Well, this is an older movie, so the producers would have been before our time.
Oh.
Probably some 50-something-year-old man with a cigar saying, "Yeah, we're gonna make this picture, man. See?" Kind of probably look like you.
Nah, they didn't have this sweet of beards back in the 80s.
Okay. Okay.
If you were an executive, you had to be all clean shaven. You might have a porn stash, but that was it. Beards didn't become cool until later.
Okay, you just said porn stash, and I just started thinking about what's his name is on trial for.
Oh, Ron Jeremy?
Oh, God, yes. That's you say porn stash, and my mind goes Ron Jeremy, and it's just.
I mean, that is
bad.
probably the most famous porn stash next to Mel Gibson.
Excuse me?
I was trying to think of Magnum
Did I
PI.
miss a part in Mel Gibson's career that got hidden somewhere?
I was thinking freaking Magnum PI, and it came out Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't know who has the more famous stash.
Probably Ron Jeremy. At least he's had more people on it. Probably. What?
Hop on me like a kangaroo.
Have we mentioned that this is rated R today? It's definitely rated R.
Yeah, it's okay. I think as long as you don't curse in the first 15 minutes, you're good.
I think I already have several times, as a matter of fact. Oops.
And at this point, I don't, and we're not famous enough for them to actually
censor
for anything.
Here comes
We
the
can't be
FCC.
shadow banned. No one listens to this shit.
Here comes the FCC. It's gonna get us. Fuck. Well, FCC, ATF. Who knows? One of them is gonna show up at the door one of these days. Fuck it.
So yes, the first movie is the story of Sue Charlton, who is a writer for Newsday, and here's a story about a crocodile man who got his leg bit off and had to
Guy
crawl.
that survived supposedly having to crawl through the bush for 5 miles or days or whatever.
And she's like, I want to go do a story on this guy.
Because he was fishing, quote unquote, fishing. I guess you're still fishing. It's just you're fishing for something bigger than the fish.
Yeah, and so she goes down to a hole in the wall.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. It's okay.
Walkabout Creek to meet the famous.
Yeah,
Mick,
population
Dundee.
20. Did you see the sign? Population 20. Okay. I thought we lived in a small town. I'm having serious construction problems here. This thing is not really wanting to.
Keep going out on you? Or
Yes,
is it just
over
falling
and
apart?
over. Well, no, it's actually staying together better than my asses, which is sad because I love my asses. But this is like.
So
not
it's a
wanting-
burn issue, not a construction issue.
Yes, pretty much.
We'll get you the correct terminology eventually.
Fuck you. I don't need the correct terminology. I just want to smoke it and have fun. That's what.
Yeah, so he takes her out into the bush.
Him and Walter, because you know him and Walter. Him and his buddy Walter.
Yeah,
who is the most bumbling, like, assistant, stand-in second guy since. What was his name on the Andy Griffith Show?
Barney.
Barney, yeah. It's like
Deputy
you
Fife.
could not be less knowledgeable if your life depended on it. But it's okay.
But he's a good marketing guy because before Mick shows up and he's telling her the story of his survival, they're like all the old people in the bar are like, that story gets better every time you tell it.
Mm-hmm. So you got to have the one that actually dishes it out and backs it up. That would be me. And then you got to have the mouth. That would be you. So we got it set. It's good.
Yes, dear.
Uh-huh.
I've never been to Australia, but visually this movie was like, it's a good kind of
I honestly
Australian tourism
am
video.
not 100% sure that it was shot there on location, though. I'm not. I think the second one was.
No,
I don't
they
think the
both
first
were.
one was.
Because, like I said, he's big on promoting Australia. So, yeah, it was filmed in Australia and New York. Back in the day when things were actually.
Well, I was only there for
filmed
about a
on
week,
set.
so we didn't get to go too far out.
Hey, you were in city
we
land.
were, and then we went and spent the weekend at a cabin out towards the bush, but we didn't get to go all the way out into the bush. So,
But I mean, it was whoever their cinematographer was. I mean, it looked beautiful. They did a good job.
there was a lot of really good shots of nature, and
shooting Australia.
they got a lot of animal shots in there that I wouldn't have. I mean, when you got this gigantic buffalo, for one, you got the
Big
razorback
water
pig,
buffalo.
big water buffalo.
And then
Big
he's like,
water buffalo.
and
Like,
you know,
the
apparently
force
like
is with you, not with you.
Country Mick, raised by the Aborigines, knows Aboriginal magic. So I remember as a kid, like him going out there and doing like it's almost like the metal sign to the buffalo and like putting it to sleep. It's like I used to do it to my dog, like try to like.
Well, he does it to dogs too, in a couple of, or the second one, or the first one, one of the two.
Yeah, he pretty much, has Jedi mind trick over animals.
But I mean, for the 80s, this was not. It was kind of woke, hypothetically, because there was a lot of respect shown to the Aboriginal culture, and it was a lot of. Yeah, it may not be appropriate to walk up to Carl Winslow and say, "What tribe are you from?" But
it's out of a. I don't want to say ignorance, but naivete. He's from a land where is like the only black people he knew are
tribal,
Aboriginal people. So he's like his first time ever leaving Australia because he kind of
and it's pretty close
her.
To the way they look. We saw a few while we were there. That's pretty close to the same kind of patterns, and I'm
pretty sure like most of the people in the movie were, or at least the people portraying the Australian side of things were local to Australia.
No, I mean like the Aboriginal people.
That's what I
really,
mean. Like
really
the people
realistic.
playing Aboriginal people, I'm pretty sure were actual.
Probably because their
Aboriginal
accents,
pizza.
they all had the right accents.
But she becomes so impressed with him not being kind of a, and this is proof that.
Opposites attract?
I was going to say that there are rednecks in every country.
Well, okay.
It don't matter where you're from. There's a country
if you're
somewhere,
living off the land and you can do that and stuff, does it make you a redneck or does it just really make you in tune with the environment? And
well, it's like I believe Hank Williams always said, "Country boy can survive."
I quit. I need a white flag here. Where can we find a white flag?
I don't know. There's a bow staff behind you.
That's not a flag.
That's the only thing I got.
Wait, I got it. It's not all the way white, but it's a white flag. Go with me on this. It's white enough.
But yeah, she brings him to New York, and then we get the other half of the fish out of water story, which he almost adapts better to New York than she did to adapting to the
because he has the same gift that you do. It's the mouth. He has the gift of gab and being able to talk to anybody and get along with anybody. And it drives me fucking insane, but yes. He has the same thing that you do. I can go into a room, I can start talking to anybody in there, and we're going to be buddies by the end of it.
But yeah, he gets mugged for the first time in New York, which 80s New York, that's like traditional. And she's like, Mick, give him your wallet.
Anyway.
He has a knife. Oh, that's not a knife.
It's a little bitty switchblade versus, basically a tomahawk that fits in your pocket.
It has a big ass Bowie knife. And this was, pre 9/11, so you could probably fly with that knife. Nowadays they'd confiscate that from you and you'd never make it into the
Christ,
you'd never make it into the city with that thing.
You have to pack it in your luggage now. You have to check it. And then she decides she's going to take him to the 80s party. And
some dude doing coke in the bathroom. And he's like, oh, you're stuffed up?
Oh, no, he was in the kitchen. Because that's where the
yeah.
kettle was. And he's like, oh, you're stuffed up? I got you. It was like, that's probably...
He's like, yeah, we do this differently the way where I'm at. And he's like, just pours like hot water over his like,
Here, I'm going to turn your cocaine into Theraflu and let's see if it works. And then, of course, you got to check, the host of the parties, what they're packing, because it sounds like a man and looks like a woman maybe, and we're not sure, so we're just going to go up and cup check her. And now she likes him for the rest of the night. She's like, yeah, yeah,
because earlier in the movie, he meets a New York
queen
cabbie, and he's like, we should go for a drink, and he takes him to some bar and tries to... He's like, I'm Italian, I'll drink you under the table. And they go partying, and Mick's talking up this lady, and he's like, buddy, that's not a lady, that's a dude. He's like, no way. And he like walks over and just cups checks her. And
she looked good. I might have had to. She looked good. I might have had to check too.
So later on, when they go to this high society
This is
party.
before we introduce ourselves with our pronouns, so we don't know.
There is a older lady, and at this point he's a little gun shy, so he has to check. And of course, like, Sue is like, "Oh, sorry, he's from Australia. That's how they do things there." And she's like, maybe I should visit.
I need to go visit. And then you get the vision of this lady going into Australia and just wandering around, just, "Hi, nice to see you. Good day, mate." Yeah.
And then you get, old, can't remember his name, but Carl Winslow, a.k.a.
Was there
Die Hard.
limo driver?
Yeah.
I don't remember if they ever gave him a name. Everett? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so, but no, I was trying to think of what his freaking name in Die Hard. Al. Yeah. So he's like their limo driver, and Mick goes off on his own and ends up getting in gets drunk, leaves his knife in the limo, and ends up getting in a fight with a bunch of pimps that he had smacked around earlier in the film.
He made friends with the prostitutes, and they didn't actually do anything but make friends with them. It's, "Hi, Simone, how are you?" And, here comes her pimp because he thinks
Carl shows up to and, like, runs over the pimps with the limo, and then one dude, like, goes running off, and he gets out and breaks the old V-shaped antenna off the back of the car and throws it like a boomerang and, like, takes the dude out. And he's like, "I thought you said you weren't in a tribe." He's like, "Nah, like, I forgot some gang name."
some New York gang of some sort that
He was like
New
East
York
Side
Kings,
Warriors or
East
something
Side
like that.
Kings or New York Warriors or something.
Warlocks or I don't know
Which
what
doesn't exactly explain how the hell you're going to throw a boomerang, but still, why not get it in there?
Hey, like Musashi said, a warrior shouldn't have a favorite weapon. You should be skilled in all weapons.
All right, so does that mean you're going to go learn how to throw a boomerang? Because Ashley knows, I don't, but...
I mean, I can throw a boomerang, I just can't get it to come back.
But that's kind of the point.
No, that's kind of the toy version. Like, the actual hunting boomerangs, they don't plan on them coming back. They just, want it to hit whatever they're throwing it at.
Well,
I mean, I have been working on learning how to throw a knife. I'm not as good as Mick yet, but
I used to know how to play a didgeridoo, too, but I haven't done that in a long time either. I was there for a week. It takes... Yeah, kind of like that. It sounds pretty good when somebody that knows what they're doing does it. I was there for a week. I had to amuse myself somehow.
But of course, he ends up falling in love with Sue, and she leaves her
jackass
kind of
fiance,
asshole, New York boyfriend, and hooks up with Mick, and that leads us to 1988's Crocodile Dundee 2, back to the outback.
Yeah. I don't think that was part of the
No, I don't think
release
that
title,
was the,
but okay.
Kind of like Back to the Future, which this one, 14 million, made 239 million. So
holy crap.
Yeah, it's like these. It's been so long ago that you don't realize how big these movies were back then.
For the day.
Yeah, these were. I mean, huge. I mean, now it's like a movie's budget's like 100 million.
Yeah.
But so making 200 million off of 14
yeah, but if you go back 40 years ago and put $14 million into a movie back then, especially since you're not spending any of it on special effects, because they're all actual effects. You're not getting anything computer generated or...
Half that budget was the animals.
Yeah, well, probably. Honestly, it probably was.
But yeah, this one was more of a... Like, where the first one's kind of a fish out of water love story. This one's like... taps into that 80s action films.
Yeah.
This one was a little more action oriented because it seems like everyone was dealing with cartels in the 80s.
Yeah.
And of course, Sue being the investigative reporter, her ex-boyfriend or friend is like a photographer, and he's working down in Colombia and gets some evidence on
one
this
of the cartel,
drug lord.
yeah,
he
drug
actually
lords.
witnesses him killing somebody and
sends her
the footage before he gets whacked himself. So
Yeah.
of course the cartel comes to New York to find her to get the evidence back. And
What was it? Nobody's ever had my picture. It was some movie, the Ghost or something, where the little girl managed to snap a picture of the multiple assassin guy. Nobody's ever seen him before. It's like, somebody's got my picture. I know there was a thing. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm familiar. You're not talking out of your ass. I'm familiar with the story, but I can't recall which movie that is offhand.
Okay.
And I like how he's just kind of. The movie starts with him like dynamite fishing off the coast of New York.
Yeah.
And like, the cops all show up and they're like, "Oh, it's just Mick."
It's just him.
Yeah, it's like he's been in New York for a couple years at this point, and he's already like befriended everybody. He's like the most known guy.
It's fine. We know who that is.
Oh. And these movies all are just kind of like, you have your like overall story, but then there's all these little like almost skits. I mean, he is like got a comedy background and so it's like, I know I have an idea. Let's I'm gonna go apply for a job and let's have a guy try to jump off a building, and I'm gonna go talk a suicidal guy.
I'm gonna
down.
go talk a jumper off the building.
These little segments
and almost fall off myself, but
these like little segments that are funny but have absolutely nothing to do with the overall plot.
Or like bad Leroy Brown. I'm gonna get with the guy that's the shady motherfucker that everybody's telling me not to stay away from, but he's actually just peddling stationery.
Yeah, because his local bar that he hangs out with, the bartender's like, there's a, kind of looks like he might be a pimp or a drug dealer, and he's like, man, I'm trying to find a job. He's like, well, you can come work for me making deliveries. And he's like, hold on, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. We'll talk business. And the bartender's like, hey man, he's into drugs or something. You should stay away from him. No, he seems like a nice guy. And he takes him out.
He's a nice guy. It's fine.
He takes him outside. He's like, all right, yeah, I just need you to drop off things here and there. He's like, well, what are you selling? He's like, stationery. He's like, is that code for something? No, but
don't tell anybody because you ruin my rep because I'm
he's
badly.
Like, actually, I'm an office supply guy, but with a name like Leroy Brown, you got to look like you're a badass or people will fuck with you. So I'll just let everybody think I'm a drug dealer, but actually I sell stationery.
I'm just sending, Post-it notes out. It's fine. But whatever. Go make a delivery and talk a jumper off a building and, it's fine.
Yeah, and he's like, the guy's like, stay back, man, I'm going to jump. He's like, I don't care. I'm not here to talk you down. He's like, I'm just going for a walk. He's like, what? Yeah, I walk around this building every day. You're kind of in my way.
Could you go ahead? Because you're kind of slowing me down. I'm on my lunch break. Got to get back.
He's like, well, I can't do it when you watching. All right, let me turn around. Keeps fucking with
there was probably some cocaine fueled in there, but the guy was gay and his boyfriend cheated on him or something or whatever. I loved that bitch, and he's kind of like, what do you mean he? Like, yeah,
Mick he's been in New York a few years. He's still learning how things are in the big city. But of course the drug dealers show up and like kidnap his girlfriend, and
the cartel head, kidnapped his girlfriend because, she has the evidence that we need to get back.
Yeah, and they try to get him to meet them in like the subway, and like a couple Japanese tourists like are like, ooh, they come out and like ninja this dude, and they're like, who was that guy? He's like, that was Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. Because every Japanese guy knows how to kick ass, right? Because that's just normal.
Yeah, it's like PE class here. It's everyone learns martial arts.
Oh, okay.
Or at least that's the stereotype from every Japanese
movie. But I mean,
movie.
It was good. It was a funny little moment there. Anyway.
And I like there's like a short guy and a tall guy. And the short guy's like, that's Clint Eastwood. He's like, no, he's not. Clint Eastwood's like tall. And the short guy's like, yeah, that guy was tall.
Yeah.
But he was like, shorter than the other Japanese guy.
Yeah.
So he looked tall by comparison.
Nothing, of course you got to throw in some racial stereotyping there just while you're at it. Wasn't anything too offensive though. So they didn't ask him to do math problems. It's just, here, kick this guy's ass. Flying side kick to the face and kick his ass.
Yeah. That's what you do. I'm a more of a elbow strike, in close fighter. I'm not really a flyer yet. I'm more of a tank. I make people fly. I don't fly myself.
I'm more of a grenade with the pin already pulled. I'm just gonna explode.
Like I said, we got to see if that guy has a chaotic ginger pin. Because that neutral ginger will definitely not
Neutral
work.
Ginger, no. Absolutely chaotic ginger. I wake up and choose violence every day. That is normal.
Speaking of which, if you're listening to this and you're a fan of the steampunk, we'll be going to the Atlanta Steampunk Expo here in about 2 weeks. So if you're in the area and want to smoke a cigar, hit us up.
Fuck yes, vacation.
We'll probably be out
is
back by the
time for
fire pit
vacation.
if it's still... it's been a few years since I've been to that hotel, but they did have an outdoor fire pit last time I was there, which was an excellent place to put on our finery and smoke a couple cigars.
Corsets and
As
top
long as
hats
it's
and
not-
cigars, oh my!
As long as it's not raining.
Lots of corsets and top hats and cigars. Oh
And the
my.
guy at the hotel doesn't almost blow himself up turning the fire pit on for us like he did last time
Oh
we were
Lord.
there.
Yeah, that was almost bad.
That was... I don't think you were there for that one. This is like the first time me and Brad went, and like we're out there by the fire pit, and dude's trying to light it, and
Well,
it's
then
like
they did it
huge
again
fire
because
pit.
the first time you and I went, they almost set it on. It's like somebody here needs to learn how to work your fire pits. And maybe keep that guy on staff or have him train his own understudy because, yeah, it almost caught that time. Which would be fine if I wasn't wearing a 6-foot wide skirt at the time. And, corset, it's hard to move away really fast. You can't.
Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll.
No, corsets are expensive. I'm not doing that. Anyway, we got off topic. Where are we at? Second movie.
Welcome to the podcast. That's
Yeah, I
all
know.
me and Brad do is get off topic.
Yeah, well, we're off topic. Anyway, we'll be there. If anybody wants to hang out, we'll be there.
Oh.
You may not recognize us because we look a little different when we're all...
Oh, it sucks. I still can't drink till like April, so it's like, oh.
But I can.
Steampunk
I can.
conventions. Yeah, but I don't.
I can.
Dealing with you and you're like,
I
as
don't
long as
care.
Kay doesn't show up.
I don't... Shut up. Shut the fuck up. I'm about to totally just abandon you. Shut up. Dude, one more closely guarded secret comes out your mouth and you will go missing. I swear to God. You threw me under the bus the last time.
What did I throw you under the bus last time?
My employment. Shut up.
I don't remember half the shit I say.
Well,
Just
I
open
do,
my
so you better
mouth
shut
and
up.
Words come out, and it's on the internet forever.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, so Mick, of course,
This really sucks here. I'm having some trouble.
asks Leroy to use his connections to help him find where this
Drug lords.
drug lords live, and they go to recruit a local gang, and Mick impresses them with they're like, so what's in it for us? And he's like, well, what are you doing tonight?
Clout. That's what's in it for you.
Yeah, like, he's like, what are y'all doing tonight? He's like, we're gonna.
No, what'd you do last night is what he said.
He's like, oh yeah, he's like,
Nothing.
we're gonna
We
nothing.
didn't do
We hung
nothing.
out, we drank, we hung out here. And he's like, cool. What if tomorrow, your story is y'all went and like,
I helped a psychopath storm a castle and rescue a fair maiden.
or at the very least, I saw this crazy guy get killed by the drug cartel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And they're like, all right, yeah, that's a pretty cool story. And then, one guy's like, hey, what's the odds of you making out of here with that jacket on? And he's like, so what's your odds of surviving? He's like, about 50-50. And he's like, so what's your odds of getting out of here with that jacket still intact? And he throws his knife and pins the dude's mohawk to the wall. And he's like, I think it's better than
Better
average.
average.
They're like, yeah, he's good. He's like, I don't need y'all to help me fight. I just need y'all to cause a distraction. So,
And of course, what do they go for? We start barking like 16 different breeds of dog because somehow that's what a New York gang has this skill.
It's like the Warriors. Come out and play. Throwing garbage over the fence.
Well, that was funny though.
Oh, but the 80s style of the drug lords, those are some great
Now, I
outfits.
like that guy's lace mesh shirt. I mean, I think it would look pretty good on me, but
I was more the pink suit with the
pink
with the rat
jacket
tail.
with the rat tail and the, oh god, it was rough.
Yeah, these guys look more like Miami gangsters than New York gangsters.
It did kind of give off a Miami Vice vibe. There was
Yeah, I was waiting for Crockett and Tubbs to
Yeah,
show up
there
instead
was
of
some-
Crocodile Hunter and Tubbs. I mean, that's Leroy Brown. He was Tubbs.
oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
No, do you remember there was like Crockett and Tubbs? We
I
got
don't remember who Crockett and Tubbs are.
those are the two guys in Miami Vice.
I didn't watch Miami Vice. I just know
Fuck
what
is
it
wrong with
was.
you? That's classic TV.
I know the style. I'm thinking Don Johnson and
Yeah, Don Johnson was Crockett, and his partner was Tubbs.
Well, I didn't know that.
And of course, the drug dealers, he rescues you, but they're supposed to be in protective custody, and they got snipers popping off at him, and he's like, I know y'all can't protect her, but I can protect her, but I need to be somewhere where I can see him coming from a long way off, so We're going to go
Let's
back
go
to the
somewhere
outback.
flat. We're not going to be in high-rise buildings where you can have a sniper to the building across the way. We're going somewhere flat where I can watch them walk up to me.
And I like once we get to Australia and he takes her out into the
And let's face it, we're talking about Australia. That's where the deadliest of fucking everything is. Spiders, snakes, all of it. It's like...
But you find out, like, you think Mick is this, like, hillbilly dude. But turns out he's, like, rich as shit, actually. And she's like, yeah, what's this? Does this name, this country we're in have a name? He's like, yeah, it's called Belongdemick. And she's like, what does that mean? It means
Mixed place.
She's like, you own this? He's like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, my grandfather left it to me. It's only about you can walk across it in 2 or 3 days. Like, that's a lot of miles.
He's like, not in Australia. That's a small farm. That's not a
hobby farm.
Yeah. He's like, but it does have. She's like, she's like, you can't grow anything here. It's all swamp and everything. She's like, so this land's worthless. He's like, well, not really. It has a lot of this, and pulls out like a huge ass gold nugget. He's like, hey, remind me tomorrow. I'll show you my gold mine. It's kind of my retirement fund.
Yeah.
So like all this time, she's been like, because she's rich. Her
dad was the owner of the newspaper she worked for.
Yeah, so she's like a big newspaper magnate's daughter.
She's a New York socialite.
And thinks Mick's this country poor guy. He's like, actually no, he's like rich as shit too.
He's loaded. And...
He just kind of reminds me of my old neighbor growing up. He was like a multi-millionaire dude, but like lived in a camper and had like a cow farm here. Like apparently he had a big mansion in Atlanta, but farming cows was his hobby because he was an old redneck.
Well, whatever makes you happy.
So it's like, yeah, he like, drove a beat up ass pickup truck and was always covered in, cow dung from working on the farm, but he was really like rich as shit.
I mean, I've got some news for you. It doesn't matter if we ever were to become millionaires or not. I'm still going to go out and chase the possum because I want to pet it. I want to pet it. So I'm still going to go chase the possum off the porch and try to catch it because I just want to do that. Creepy dolls and a menagerie of wild animals. That's my dream life. It works for me.
But of course the cartel comes to Australia to try to hunt Mick.
We're going to hunt him down and get him because of course that's what we're going to do.
And try to recruit a couple locals, and they're like, oh, we got this Aboriginal tracker guy. He's like, excuse me, who are y'all hunting? Mick Dundee. And just turns around and like walks the fuck off. He's like, nope, I don't want none of this smoke.
I'm out. I got nothing to do with it. And then we start tracking him, and they've kidnapped Walter at that point because they're gonna use him as leverage, and then Mick shoots him.
And they start off by shooting his truck, and he instead of shooting them, he just snipes all their vehicles. He's like, all right, now they're on foot too. We're even.
Yeah, 7-2 is even. Well, sure, up here it is.
And I like when he takes Sue to his summer cabin, which is like this shack up in the mountains. And he's like, well, you're the first person I've ever taken there. And you can see clearly behind her, like Mick and some other girl's name carved in the wall. He just like quickly throws a towel over the the carving. No, baby, you're the first one I've ever brought here.
Gee, I've heard that before. I wonder what it was. Oh, yeah, you're the first girl I've ever taken home to my mother.
That stuck around afterward.
What?
I'm only kidding.
You better be, because otherwise this whole video is going to become something completely different. We're going to have a live autopsy. I will remove your intestines and hang you with them for all of YouTube to see.
But back to like these movies being surprisingly wholesome on rewatch. He doesn't kill anybody. I mean, Dead to Rights could have.
Oh, yeah.
But he chose to, like, basically capture all of them.
And then he calls the bats. The bats was my favorite. He threw the paste made out of the berries they liked at him and then started calling them. I'm assuming it was a mating sound. And here come all these flying foxes, which are so freaking cute because I want one so bad.
And, of course, he let Mick kind of stay with them. So he's just filling their heads through all this, like, oh, yeah.
He let Walter, not Mick.
Walter. Yeah, he's like, filling them all through all these, like, stories. Like, oh, yeah, he was raised by the Aborigines. He knows, like, Aboriginal magic and shit.
He knows their black magic, and then the bats suddenly all attack, and it's like...
He's like, see? Black magic. And then later on, he, like, once they go to bed, he goes in and, like, captures one of them, and then leaves a... goanna with his bandana tied to the... And they're like, see? They turned Jose into a iguana.
Threw a snake into somebody else's... big freaking python into somebody else's lap in the middle of the night. He's like, you came through here and you didn't even get an alarm up, or
he didn't make any sound. He was so he was like, dude's a ghost.
He threw a 15-foot freaking python in my lap. Of course I didn't make a sound. I was afraid I was going to get bit.
And then the two guys are like, we're not getting paid enough for this. Fuck this. And they try to sneak off on their own, and they run into Nugget, and he's like pulls out a beer, and he's like, y'all, he's like, you should have brought a gun instead of a beer. And he's like, I don't need a gun. I got a donk. I'm like, what's a donk? And then like big ass donk like comes out of the woods like, I'm a donk, and like kicks the shit out of both of them.
Kind of looks like that Hispanic guy that's in so many of the movies, like the Robert Rodriguez movies and stuff.
Which one?
The big, tall, wide one with the
giant dude
beat
from,
up
like,
face. The
dude that was in Longest Yard.
He was in Longest Yard. He was in
he's like an Australian
Desperado.
version of that guy.
Yeah, he was in lots of those movies.
I mean, this movie also had we're here for the Wednesday episode. Freaking Gomez Adams himself, a young Luis Guzman was one of the henchmen.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the Australian like hired goons, like one of them is his friend in the next movie. Well,
that makes sense though. He's like he abandoned it and left and walked off, and
I can't remember.
We became buddies after that. We had a pint. It's fine.
I can't remember if they ever gave him a name in the second movie, so I can't confirm it's like
second
the
movie.
Same
It was
character.
Jacker.
Yeah, Jacko.
Jacko.
That's his name in the third one, so it must have been the same.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure it was the same actor, but I didn't know if it was the same character. But
I think so.
Apparently, he's like, we became
cool.
friends.
We're cool again.
I mean, hell, that's how I became friends with a lot of people, and like, the local bully would try to start some shit, and then I'd fight him, and then we'd be like, all right, we have respect for each other now. You're cool.
This is not how girl society works. I don't know why, but
that's how me, Mike, and
it's not how gay society works either. Because I have a lot of gay friends and girlfriends, and it's not how we don't beat each other up first. We beat each other up, beat other people up for each other, and that's how we become friends. It's like Dawn and all of them. It's like, I will take a fucking bullet for you, and I will rip somebody's spine out for you. We are now best friends forever.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Was a guy in high school, or no, I think it was middle school, Harvey, that was kind of a donk. And most people were like afraid of him. And me and Mike, would just fuck with him right back. And he's like, all right, y'all aren't scared of me. Y'all are my friends now.
Mike had the market cornered on a hot commodity in middle school. And that
was high school when he was the
porn king.
Okay, never mind. That was middle school.
It was
high school when he was breaking into vending machines and selling crackers.
Yeah. The illegal black market snack trade.
Oh. But yeah. And then you get the, him finally capturing the lead drug dealer and switching outfits with him. So using him to smoke out the
well, that's because they set the ground on fire. They said, why are we playing his game his way? Let's do it our way. You don't chase a snake down its hole. Apparently you set a bunch of brush on fire, and that's which is kind of sad considering how badly Australia's been hit by wildfires. But
unfortunately, Walter, who he had rescued at this point, decided to rescue Mick and shoots the drug dealer, not knowing it's Mick in his outfit.
Fortunately, he's not a good shot.
Like they're all looking like of Mick's supposedly dead body that fell off the cliff when the other sniper shot him, and like the Aboriginal dude showed up. He was like, if Mick wants his clothes back, he's coming down there himself. And they're like, what are you talking about? His clothes are down there in the valley. You're like, that's not Mick.
Well, can you blame the dude? I mean, he was barefoot, wearing nothing but a loincloth. It's like, I'm not rock climbing in that either. This may be your normal life and how you live, but I'm not rock climbing in that shit either.
Yeah, and he's like, good thing you can't shoot for shit, Walter. Because he just kind of nicked him. But then again, he did nick Walter,
yeah,
earlier.
It was fair. It was payback.
It was even.
Zinged him in the ear. I mean, it's kind of,
Tis a flesh wound.
It's been a flesh wound.
And then
a flesh wound.
Yeah, we jump forward 12
Have
years.
Your arm. I'm on a hole. Oh, God, I just felt it. You just started the Black Knight, and I'm sitting there with the Black Knight. No, you're not. Your arm's off. No, it's not. It's merely a flesh wound.
But then we get the the
Sorry,
third
I fell in a hole.
in the
I need to be
movies.
fed. I'm like, the sugar levels in my body are depleted and I'm hungry.
But yeah, we get to Crocodile Dundee in L.A.
The kid was cute. The kid actually looked like a pretty good, I mean, not necessarily like an AI taking the two and making a child, but the kid was a pretty good
Well,
match
they
to be the
actually
They did get married, right?
get married, so hell, it may have been their actual child.
Well, the sad part I found out later is he was married for 30 years before he met her, and he was still married when he met her, and they got married right after the movie anyway. So you kind of had a Brad and Angelina situation there.
Serge Cockburn.
Excuse me?
That's his name.
That's the child's name?
Serge Cockburn.
Serge.
I mean, that sounds like something you'll catch in the Outback.
No, that sounds like a soda that they used to make way back when that nobody would remember now. It was green.
As Mikey Dundee II.
Mickey.
Oh.
And then he had Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson has to cameo because that was
And
before he had
he's
face
such a peaceful man. Yeah,
when you could actually understand him still, because you can't now when he talks.
Oh.
We're going to go on a yoga.
Yeah, he's like doing meditating in the park and teach. And of course, Dundee has no idea who he is. And like after they get done meditating, he's like, Mikey, why don't you walk up on ahead? I need to talk to Mr. Mike here. And he's like,
I need a favor.
He's like, yeah,
Everybody
lots of people
needs
need favors from me. No, seriously, you need to help me out. My knees have locked. I'm getting too old for this shit, bro.
Yep. Too old, Riggs. Getting too old for this shit, Riggs.
And of course, he's like, because the plot of this movie is Sue gets asked to the LA newspaper office branch manager dies mysteriously.
Yeah, in a mysterious car accident.
And they want her to kind of take over that paper until they find his replacement. So Mick's sitting around watching a lot of detective dramas, and now he's like, I know all there is to know about crime. You need someone to go undercover.
I am an armchair warrior. I know everything about everything now.
Because they, he's like, there's something shady about this studio. So he goes undercover as a monkey trainer.
Well, no, he was supposed to be an
extra
originally, and then
he was the only one that
there's
could
a scene with a chimp, and we're trying to get the chimp
animals.
to do what needs to be done, and the chimp doesn't want to do it because apparently the animal trainer's not real great.
But turns out they're...
Come on, Kiki, go over there and get him a Diet Coke and a glass and bring it back.
He's assuming it's drugs, but apparently they're using wasting money on films to smuggle high-end art into the country and some Yugoslavian
Which is actually not
gangsters.
a bad plot, because that did really happen. There was really a bombing in, I think, Belgrade is what it was. And there was supposedly art museums that were destroyed, and all these priceless works of art were lost. But yes, some of them were found later. They had been stashed somewhere, and a lot of them have gone up to, what is it, Christie's, Sotheby's auction and stuff. A lot of that stuff has gone. They did find those things that were supposedly destroyed, but actually weren't.
So what did you think of this? Because you're just recently... I mean, it was fun, but it just didn't have... And it didn't make nearly... I think it was made for $25 million, only made $39 million. So it was not as successful as the previous ones.
Are you really ever going to have a third installment of something that is as successful? I mean, aside from your Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, which is still the continuation of a story.
Anything Marvel.
Is anything the third iteration going to be?
Well, also it was like...
Marvel's fine. We'll take Marvel.
And this came out in 2001, where the first ones were like... The last one was in 89, 88. So they may have waited too long for...
Probably.
But there is rumors that there might possibly be a fourth one, because I think they did I believe it was a Super Bowl commercial where they were...
Yeah, but I thought Paul Hogan had passed away.
No, he's still alive.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I thought he passed away. But he's
No. He's old as shit, but he's still around. But they just recently did a kind of an Australian tourism commercial. I think it might have been a Super Bowl commercial, but it had Hemsworth and Hogan, and it was kind of like a fake Crocodile Dundee thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like the kind of the buzz on it was so... he is still alive. He's 83.
I thought he had passed last year. I thought he had died last year.
But yeah, the buzz on it was so big that they're like, maybe it's time to do another Crocodile Dundee movie.
Well, she said that part of the reason they'd separated is she wanted to go back, and she was tired of living in his shadow of his career, because apparently he was still a big actor in Australia after this. Not.
Yeah, I mean, he did a couple more movies here, but he's mainly like,
But they did split up after about 24 years, I think it was, and she was going to go back into acting. So they might, I mean, depending on how amicable the split up was.
Yeah, it was following a 2018 Tourism Australia campaign. In 2020, Hogan starred in The Very Excellent Mr. Dundee, him portraying himself as a aging, out-of-touch movie actor.
What does that sound like? That sounds like that one you were telling me about Nick Cage.
Oh, yeah.
The fabulous cost of being... Oh, God, I don't want to know.
It was like the unbearable weight of extreme...
There you go.
I want to see it. It sounds hilarious, but... Yeah, he apparently is still out there doing his thing, so maybe we'll get a fourth installment.
Gotta have grandkids now. Gotta save the grandkids from getting eaten by the crocodile that caught the bouquet at the end of the third movie.
I do like that even though it's like so much later, he got pretty much everyone that was still alive, because Walter had passed away by the time that one had came out. But Donk, even Jocko, that was his enemy in the last one, is now like the second best crocodile man. He even like brings him to LA with him to act as a nanny while he's working undercover at the studio, and now he's teaching him about LA. And the third movie too was just basically an advertisement for I think he had a deal with like Outback cars at the time.
Well, yeah, and there was a Subaru, so he probably had
the Subaru Outbacks. He was like in a lot of their like ads and shit. So, and that's pretty much what he drove throughout the movie.
And then all of the hype for Paramount Studios, because there was a lot of that.
But this one had like I said, the previous ones had almost these little sketches within the main storyline. Where I think this one was like a lot heavier on those. It felt a little more kind of disconjointed than
disconjointed.
Yes. Not sequential.
Non-sequential.
Not sequential.
Non-sequential.
They're called synonyms. They're the same thing.
No, it's not this. Oh my God. Non-sequential. That's the correct way to say it.
So
you married a grammar Nazi. You knew that to begin with. So get over it.
Goanna.
Goanna.
So yeah, what did you think of this one? I mean, obviously
the third one was cute. I mean, the kids would have watched. The girls didn't watch it with me, but they could have. It was a cute little family movie, because past a certain point, you're gonna have to start doing like family movies. I mean, okay, for example, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy did all the Beverly Hills Cops and all this action, and they were great.
And then he got old.
And then he got old, and he started doing Dr. Dolittle and the Nutty Professor.
Same thing with Ice Cube. Like,
oh God, yeah.
That's all he does is like comedy movies and family movies now. This is like freaking one of the original members of NWA.
And once you want to get past a certain point, you want to leave a legacy. Your kids can actually.
Hell, Ice-T. He's been on.
Ice-T is awesome.
Law
I'm in
and
love
Order
with Ice-T
SVU for forever.
And he's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with him. Ice-T.
I mean, the guy that wrote Cop Killer has been playing a cop for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I know. And that, boys and girls, is what we call irony. But Ice-T and Risk a Heart Attack. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Anyway. Yeah, I need food. I'm getting off the rails here.
So, final thoughts on your cigar there, other than the staying lit
Staying lit was an issue. I mean, it stayed very mild.
You like the sweeter flavored shit? Did it at least kind of?
The flavor was good. It was mostly chocolate. I didn't get a whole lot of like the butter or whatever, but the flavor was okay. But it was really, really, really mild. Like milder than say a Sweet Jane or Fat Bottom Betty. It was just really mild. It's something I would recommend to somebody that's just starting out.
One of those
ones like what's
transition cigars where you start off with something that tastes good and then you
basically like training wheels, cigar training wheels.
Yeah, you learn where in kind of in my world we don't typically get people in via sugary cigars, but say something milder, lighter like a Connecticut that doesn't have a lot of strength to it, and they eventually find maybe something that their palate likes something a little stronger. It's a intro cigar for people who like flavored cigars.
Yeah, there you go.
And this Tatuaje, which I generally like most of the Tatuaje stuff. This one's got a little bit of spice, a little bit of peppery, and it has some like chocolate and woody notes, but not super strong. I'd call this they say it's full strength. It feels like it's got a bit of a strength to it, but it's, I would say, more of a medium, at least for my palate, because I smoke the darkest shit.
of dark.
Yeah, I only smoke cigars that are black like my
Going
soul.
down
so.
to the pits of hell to get our cigars, because that's the only thing that
So
can
to
satisfy.
me, it's not like super strong, but it does have a little bit of, and I like a nice peppery cigar, but it's not kind of overwhelming. So this is one I could probably
go with all the vinegar in your spirit.
This is one I could probably, like, smoke another. It's not one that's like, I've smoked this and now I'm like burnt out. I can't smoke anything else. So it's
piss and vinegar and pepper. That's about right. That about sums it up.
Well, like we said, this one's a very limited run. I think it only made like 1,000 boxes. So if you can find it, get it while you can. There's a couple other exclusive Tatuaje cigars that have come out recently. Kind of limited edition stuff. I know our local shop, the cigar shop, they have all of them. So if you're in our area, stop in, try out one. And
have you ever said what our area is? Because especially when you're going to say our area.
North Georgia.
North Georgia, yeah.
Yeah. The outback of Georgia.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, you can go up the road and find bears and mountain lions.
I kind of want this,
coyotes.
The alligator skin vest, though, because, mixed style is pretty sweet. I could rock a snakeskin vest.
I'm trying to remember. He used to do a different... It wasn't cowboy movies, but it was something along that lines. I mean, I'm sure he at some point or another had some serious...
He did have a cowboy... was it Lightning Jack or something like that?
Something like that. But there was some... He did some outdoor...
He had like a Western comedy type movie at one point.
I wonder how many times he's battled skin cancer, because that man was fried.
Bro was tanned. Like... Where's his filmography? Yeah, Lightning Jack was his kind of Western movie he did.
I'm trying to remember what he did originally, but way back when. But that would have been like 60s.
Between the 73 to 84, he had the Paul Hogan Show, which was apparently like a skit comedy show in Australia.
Well, that makes sense.
Where Crocodile Dundee was his first kind of U.S. film.
Yeah.
And he was also in Flipper.
Really?
He was the dad in the Flipper movie, not the TV show.
I don't remember that movie.
So, any final thoughts here on Hogan before we in the Dundee film
Hogan
franchise?
Is great. I kind of would have liked to have seen her do more.
Yeah, other than these movies, I don't...
Like they said, or when I was looking it up and doing some research, she kind of gave up her career to marry him and kind of was the stay-at-home and that kind of thing.
Kind of like...
I would have liked to seen her, because she kind of comes off to me like almost a little Lemon Hamilton type. Almost like that kind of, the badass, the bad bitches society. She kind of looks like the precursor to that.
So it's almost like the actual movie where, like, by the time we get to the third one, she's moved to Australia with him and is no longer the hot reporter that she, and I don't mean hot as in
no, she was still good looking.
But
she was
like
good looking.
hot as in famous as a reporter.
Yeah.
Career hot wise. So she kind of gave up all that to like stay in Australia with Mick. So it was kind of art imitating life, imitating art.
She would have been good, I think, to do a couple. I would have liked to have seen her in a couple other things, because, like I said, she does give off that Linda Hamilton, Sigourney Weaver type bad bitch society group.
If she had stuck around here, she probably could have had a fairly big career.
Yeah, she could have had a good action movie career, kind of like some of them other ones. She does. She reminds me a lot of Linda Hamilton. It comes off the same vibe. Holy shit! Did I just say vibe?
Yeah.
Wow.
And with that, that's all we got for you this week. We're going to wrap this up and be right back with some science.
And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds Podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com. We're on the ESO Network at esonetwork.com. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Cigar Nerd Pod. Remember, smoke them as you got them. Like, comment, and subscribe.